Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Antu 71552 KHALIJAH binti Abdul Halim. I would like to describe about the first point, that is overview of documentary collection. So, what is documentary collections? Documentary collection is an arrangement whereby the exporter ship the goods to importer and exporter send the shipping documents and draft to his bank for further sent to importer's bank to collect payment or acceptance from the importer on his behalf. So, from this picture, we can see the flow of documentary collection. Okay, documentary collection transactions started from exporter, that is we call as drawer, which make a sale contract with importer, or we call as drawee. So sale contracts of goods in international trade will involve international bank, which will involve about the invoice, similar documents, invoice, about the currency and so on. So first documentary collection transaction we started from exporter, send about the invoice and transport document to remitting bank, and continues to collecting or presenting bank, and then will receive by importer, and then importer will make acceptance and payment to collecting and presenting bank, and then will continue to invoice, continue to remitting banks, and then the last transactions in documentary collection is exporter will receive acceptance and payment. So we can see the flow. Documentary collection is very important, which is have to involve these three of bodies, which is exporter, importer, and banks. So the main functions in this documentary collection is bank. We will know that without bank, exporter and importer may be facing difficult to achieve this goal. Okay.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is NURUL and SHAHIRA binti NOOR, matric number 273756. Okay, I will continue with the documentary collection method. Okay, the bank has invented this method especially to the exporter and importer that are new to each other and both cannot compromise whether to use open account or advance payment because there is no trust between both parties. Okay, under this documentary collection method, there is site and users method. Okay, for site, the collection method is called document against payment, DP. For users, the method is called a document against acceptance, DA. So in this presentation, I will focus on the workflow of a documents against payment method, DP, and the next presenter will be focusing on DA method. In this documentary collection, we have exporter, which is known as the principal, the importer known as drawee, the remitting bank known as intermediary bank, and collecting presenting bank as importer's intermediary bank. Okay, normally there are two banks here. The collecting bank is the remitting bank agents, and the presenting bank is the importer banks. Both exporter and importer have entered into a sales contract. Okay, this means that they have agreed that the method of payment will be by site documentary collection method, which is DP, that known as documents against payment. Okay, once the contract has been signed, the exporter will ship out the goods to the importer through a shipping agent. Okay, after the goods have been shipped out, the exporter will prepare the trade documents that include a bill of lading and a side bill of exchange. Okay, next, the exporter will prepare a cover letter, which is also known as a collection instruction containing complete and precise instruction. The collection instruction form is normally prepared on a standard format given by the bank. This is the example of trade documents, which is the bill of lading and a side bill of exchange. After the document is completed, the exporter will forward all trade documents to his bank, also known as the remitting bank. Okay, basically, the exporter is informing the remitting bank that he had shipped out the goods to the importer and wants the remitting bank to send all the trade document to the importer and collect payment on his behalf. Okay, this is why this method of payment also known as the collection method. Now, the trade documents are with the remitting bank. Okay, the remitting bank also prepare its own collection instruction. Okay, whatever instruction given by the exporter in the collection instruction will be transferred over to the remitting bank collection instruction. Next, the remitting bank will forward the documents to the collecting presenting bank. Okay, when the documents arrive at the collecting presenting bank, the bank will inform the importer to make payment in order to collect the documents. When the importer paid to the collecting presenting bank, the bank will release the trade documents to the importer. With the trade document, the importer will be able to collect the goods. Next, the collecting presenting bank will remit payment to the remitting bank. When the remitting bank has received the payment, the remitting bank will credit the payment to the exporter's account. This entire transaction is governed by the Uniform Rules for Collection, also known as URC 522, published by the International Chamber of Commerce. Okay, so that is the workflow of a document against payment method. Okay, so that's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Siti Norfatihah. My magic number is 273782. Today I will present about collection under document against acceptance, specifically about workflow of document against acceptance or DA. Before I explain further, I want to highlight four main parties involved in this workflow. First is exporter, also known as principal. Next is importer, known as drawee. And two bank, which is remitting bank, which is any intermediary bank remitting for an item, and collecting or presenting bank, which is a drawee bank. It presents the documents received from the remitting bank to the importer and collects the payment from them. Now, I will explain about the workflow. First, collection under document against acceptance started when exporter and importer commence a use and sales contract where exporter give importer 90 days of credit term, also known as 90 days after sight. Once both parties agree with all the terms and has signed the contract, the exporter will deliver the goods to the importer via a shipping agent. After the delivery were made, exporter will prepare trade documents, which is including bill of lading, bill of exchange, and also collection instruction to submit it to the remitting bank. In the next slide, I will show you a sample of these trade documents. This is sample for bill of lading and bill of exchange. Bill of lading is a legal document issued by a carrier to a shipper that have details of the goods being delivered. It also serves as a shipment receipt when the carrier delivers the good at a predetermined destination. This document must accompany the shipped product, no matter the form of transportation, and must be signed by an authorized representative from the carrier, shipper, and receiver. A USAN bill of exchange needs to be accepted by the drawee to make him liable to the bill. The drawee accepts the bill by signing on the face of the bill, where the drawee agrees to make payment on maturity, for example, 90 days after sight, also described as 90 days after acceptance of bill of exchange. Next is collection instruction form. This form includes complete instruction from exporter. It is commonly have standard format by the bank. All documents sent for collection must be accompanied by a collection instruction indicating that the collection is subject to URC 522 and is giving complete and precise instruction. Banks are only permitted to act upon the instruction given in such collection instruction and in accordance with these rules. I will continue with the workflow. After bank receive the trade document from exporter, bank will transfer all the instruction from collection instruction to cover letter. Then remitting bank will forward all the trade document to collecting or presenting bank. When collecting or presenting bank receive the all the document, the bank will inform the importer to accept the USAN bill of exchange. Once the bill accepted, bank will release all the trade documents to the importer, and importer get to clear out the delivered goods at the port. Importer able to run their business, and on maturity, which is 90 days after acceptance, importer will make payment to collecting presenting bank. The bank will forward the payment to the remitting bank, and lastly, the remitting bank will make the payment to the exporter.
My name is NURUL binti KAMARUDDIN. My metric number 272957. I will present about collection instruction. Collection instruction is a document prepared by the exporter following the standard format given by his bank. The exporter will prepare cover letter, which known as collection instruction, along with other trade documents including bill of exchange. Collection instruction containing complete and accurate instruction given by the exporter to his bank called remitting bank, and then forward to importer's bank, presenting bank. Exporter bank remitting bank is only allowed to follow guidelines given in the collection instruction. This collection instruction contains the complete information required by the presenting bank. Here is the sample form of collection instruction. Collection instruction will have the following information: bank details, which the collection was received, principal or drawer details, drawee or importer details, and presenting bank details. All the details including full name, postal and SWIFT addresses, telephone and reference number. Next is amount to be collected, charges and any interest to be collected, payment method, instruction in case of non-payment. There is also document list, term and condition of payment or acceptance. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad FARID ZAINI, metric number 272605. In my part, I will explain about Uniform Rule for Collection, URC. The first thing first is, what is URC? URC is a set of rules that help assist in the process of collecting debts or own money or assets. The URC were established or proposed by the International Chamber of Commerce (ICC), a worldwide organization that serves to promote and facilitate business interests and trade between nations. The latest revision of URC, draft in the mid of 1990s, outlined the issue that practitioners like businesses, banks, and sellers face on a daily basis when trying to collect payment. The Uniform Rules for Collections also provides useful rules for such practitioners to follow when initiating the collection process. The last draft of Uniform Rules for Collection, otherwise known as URC 522, set out the need for the primary or remitting bank to draw up and attach a sheet that explicitly explains the purpose of and the process that should be followed when collecting debts. The URC 522 also outlined what bank can and should do in relation to document against acceptance and document against payment. Document against acceptance are an agreement between importer and exporter, specifying that the importer is not to be given the documentation that confirm their ownership of the imported goods until the bill of exchange has been paid or an agreement to pay has been made. In such case, the URC 522 says that the importer accepts a time draft from the bank via the exporter and must sign agreeing to pay the exporter, which is the seller, at future time. Once this has been accepted, ownership documentation is then turned over by the bank to the buyer. Documents against payment are used to a similar end on the exporter's side. The documentation are an agreement between the bank and the exporter, specifying that the importer is not to receive any of the paperwork confirming ownership of the goods until the attached bill of exchange is paid or preparation for payment has been made. URC 522 says that the buyer, which is the importer, should make a full payment on goods once they are delivered, after which the document confirming ownership can be handed over by the bank. To summarize my part, the uniform rules for collection are an important protection for banks, traders, buyers and also the sellers because they outline the responsibilities of each party when it comes to the collection of goods or money owed. The rules are particularly helpful to banks and other institutions that seek to collect money owed on a daily basis. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like to describe the last point, that is advantage and disadvantage of documentary collections to exporter, importer and banks. So exporter have several advantage and disadvantage. So the first advantage is exporter is guaranteed payment upon presentation of specific documents. Second, it eliminates the risk of dealing with an unknown importer in a different country. Third, it becomes easier for the exporter to secure pre-order financing. Fourth, importer cannot refuse payment by raising a complaint about the goods. 5. Provide an opportunity to sell goods on before payment has to be made under a document against acceptance transactions. The last, we have increased the likelihood of payment for the seller, as the buyer may not be able to obtain the goods without payments or acceptance of the collections. So, I already list about the advantage of documentary collections to the exporter. Now we move to disadvantage. So here we can see a few of disadvantages. The first one is documentary risk. So documentary risk occur when buyer refuse to take goods since documents submitted to banks are not complete. So second, we have political risk, which is buyer refuse to take goods due to decline of selling price of the goods. Commercial risk described about the for commercial risk, buyer refuse to take goods due to declines of selling price of the goods. While political risk, buyers import license is suddenly revoked by local government. Transfer risk described when transfer restrictions of buyers country due to lack of foreign exchange. 5. The next disadvantage is the security of payment for the seller is less than payment in advance, a bank payment obligation or documentary credit. The last is the seller doesn't have the benefit of bank guarantee of payment provided by a documentary credit and relies only upon the credit standing of drawee or buyer. So from advantage and disadvantage, I can see that exporter have more disadvantage, which is more risk on exporter in international trade. So we move to importer. So importer, we can see here a few of advantage and disadvantage. So advantage, the first is provide some assurance to the buyer that the shipment will arrive, although the buyer will often not be able to examine the goods before payment or acceptance of the collection. Second, lower transaction cost because purchase of goods is not accompanied by document collection issuing. So disadvantage for importer is payment is made before goods can be checked. So I already explained about advantage and disadvantage. What I can say is importer have more benefits, more advantage than exporter in the documentary collections. So more profitable to the importer. Now we move to banks. We can see here a few of advantage and disadvantage for banks. Banks assistant in obtaining payment. Second, the process is simple, fast, and less costly than letter of credits. So we can see here, documentary collection is better than is preferred for banks than letter of credit. So we see about disadvantage for the banks. The first one is banks' role is limited and they do not guarantee payment. Second, banks do not verify the accuracy of the documents. So what I can say, documentary collections for banks have their balance. Advantage and disadvantage have balance. No more better or no more less. So it seems have balance for banks better than it's okay than exporter and importer, which is they have their own they have their own advantage on disadvantage. Which one is better? So that's all from me. Thank you.